Look, I am fascinated, gripped, in fact, by what you're about to tell me about what you make of the Bain Capital furore, given that, of course, you yourself hammered Mitt Romney into the ground over this. What do you think of what Cory Booker said?
Well, I think Booker is telling the truth about how the American people feel. I am very surprised that President Obama went down this road for two reasons. First, we found out when we got in a fight with Mitt Romney over this that it didn't work, that people understand free enterprise. People realize sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail, but they refuse to take a one-sided view of it. I think Governor Perry will tell you that when he tried to use it, it didn't work. When I went head-to-head with Mitt over it, it didn't work. And I'm a little surprised that Obama's trying. I think what Cory Booker is telling is the truth. But there's a deeper reason. How can you be the president with the worst unemployment record since the Great Depression, the longest period of deep unemployment since the 1930s, and pick a fight over job creation? I mean, there's a point here where this becomes ludicrous. And in effect, what Obama's saying is that government investment is smarter than private equity. And if you look at their track record of losing billions of dollars on various and sundry solar companies, $2.1 billion on one company alone, you'd have to say Obama's a pretty bad venture capitalist. And remember, he's doing it with your money. I mean, for better or worse, Romney was taking a risk as a private person with private money in the private sector. Obama's been throwing our money as taxpayers away and our children and grandchildren's money in the national debt. I just think this is a bad argument for President Obama to be in the middle of.
I must say, Mr. Speaker, I am very touched and moved by your stoic defence of Mitt Romney and Bain Capital. Let's play, first of all, what Mitt Romney has done today. He's turned around Cory Booker's words, as you'd imagine, and turned them into an ad. Let's watch this.
Have you had enough of President Obama's attacks on free enterprise? His own key supporters have. Democrat Mayor Cory Booker of New Jersey.
I have to just say, from a very personal level, I'm not about to sit here and indict private equity.
Even Obama's own supporters have had enough.
It's nauseating to the American public. Enough is enough.
Now, first of all, I presume you wouldn't dispute this is pretty damaging for Barack Obama, that one of his top supporters appears to have gone rogue here. And whichever way you try and spin it, what Cory Booker said in terms of it being nauseating and so on was a direct challenge, I think, many people felt, to Barack Obama's position on Bain Capital.
You know, former Congressman Harold Ford Jr. basically said he agreed with Booker. And here's a practical reason. You're the mayor of Newark. You're right in the shadow of Wall Street. You have lots of jobs coming into your city, lots of investments coming into your city. You don't want to see them turned off by the president's attacks. I mean, Cory Booker was describing what I think is a very big reality for him as the mayor of Newark, that free enterprise system has been creating jobs, paying taxes, improving his city. And by the way, he is a terrific reform mayor. I mean, this is one of the up-and-coming stars of the Democratic Party. So it's a pretty important split. But also, I can report, having lived through it, the ad that the Romney people just released is effective. One of the things we discovered, we could never make clear an attack on a particular case and Romney's ability to say, no, this is about free enterprise. And the average American looked up and said, you know, it's about free enterprise. Well, and it turned out that particular argument simply doesn't work.
Let's take a little trip down memory lane, Mr. Speaker. Let's play a little ensemble of some of your previous views on Mitt Romney and Bain Capital.
He's not a conservative. It's a joke for him to call himself a conservative. It's a Saturday Night Live skit. Maybe Governor Romney, in the spirit of openness, should tell us how much money he's made off of how many households that have been foreclosed by his investments. That if Governor Romney would like to give back all the money he's earned from bankrupting companies and laying off employees over his years at Bain, that I would be glad to then listen to him.
I could have been listening to President Obama there, couldn't I,
right,
Mr. Speaker?
But that exactly was the point I made at the very beginning, Piers. Having seen those, you would think that President Obama and Axelrod and others would say, gee, that didn't work. And the fact is, objectively, it didn't work.
Yeah, but hang on. I can't let you get away with this. It may not have worked, but that doesn't mean that you didn't believe it. I mean, do you actually believe what you said in those attack ads, or do you believe what you're now saying to please Mitt Romney?
No, first of all, what I'm now saying doesn't contradict those ads. I think there are things you can legitimately look at in Bain Capital. I think there are things you can legitimately look at in anybody's record, including Mitt Romney's record. But what I'm reporting to you is the question you asked. I don't think it's politically effective. I think for the President of the United States with the worst unemployment record in modern times to attack a businessman over job creation gets him exactly into a fight that Obama doesn't want to be in the middle of. We're describing whether or not it's effective as a political question. Is it a legitimate question? Of course it is. Is everything about any candidate out in the open? Of course it is. That's perfectly legitimate.
Do you think private equity per se, do you think it's a force for good or a force for bad for the future, the immediate future of the American economy?
I think private equity on balance creates far more jobs than it kills. I think private equity creates a much better future. Look, for example, at Facebook. Look at the whole rise of Google. Look at the rise of Microsoft. Look at the rise of Apple. The fact is the free market system, and this always amazes me about left-wingers. The free market system creates more jobs, has raised more people to middle-class status, has given more people a chance to buy a car, a cell phone, a house, an iPad, to have hospital insurance. I mean, go down the list.
How are you going to attack left-wingers for this when President Obama, who may well be watching this, I'm sure he does as a matter of course, but if he sees this, he's going to think, I know what I'll do. I'll go back to those old Newt Gingrich attack ads about how Bain wrecked people's lives, cost hundreds of jobs and all the rest of it, and he'll just start putting them out in the way that Mitt Romney's put out Cory Booker, wouldn't he? I would.
Sure, he can, and I'll make 2 points on it. First of all, a discussion about a particular company or a particular decision is not an attack on the free enterprise system. You asked me about private equity in general. Private equity in general has been a force that has overwhelmingly been more effective at creating jobs than any socialist government in history. So if I had to choose between private equity and socialism, I would pick private equity every time. And countries that use private equity get richer, and countries that follow socialism get poorer. And Obama, frankly, is a pretty good case study of that, because his examples of public equity, investing in Solyndra, investing in other failing companies, I mean, he's thrown away billions of dollars of taxpayers' money because it turns out bureaucrats don't make very good venture capitalists. So let's draw a distinction between a general argument about private equity, which is what you asked me about. I think it's perfectly reasonable for the news media, the president, anybody who wants to look at Bain Capital. What I'm reporting to you is, having lived through it, it doesn't work very effectively, and it sure doesn't work very effectively if you're the president with the worst unemployment record since the Great Depression.
Well, I take your point on that. You've made that a few times. So let's move to your campaign, which came to an end, obviously, a few weeks ago. Apparently, according to the latest filings, you owe $4.8 million. How are you going to pay this off? How does it work?
Well, you go around and ask a lot of people for help, and over time you pay it off. Hillary Clinton, I think, ended her campaign $27 million in debt. She's now down to about $425,000, I think. So you have to go and do a lot of fundraising. I had 2 small events in Georgia over the weekend. We raised some of the money. We have more events scheduled in the near future. Obviously, anybody who's watching, we'd love to have them go to newt.org and donate, and we're very grateful to anybody who does. And we're getting pledges to help us pay it down. It'll take a while, but we're going to work at it and keep working at it, and we'll get it all paid off.
Are you hopeful that, given your stoic defence of Bain Capital today, Mitt Romney might, step in, waive the debts as a little token of gratitude?
Look, I would not object to anybody who wants to, who believes in free enterprise, donating to help us pay it off. But I also don't do anything to get that done. I'm happy to take care of my own problems and to work on the campaign. I believe, and I've said this very aggressively, if your choice is Barack Obama or Mitt Romney, then if you're a conservative, you have no choice. You're for Mitt Romney, period. End of story. The choice is so decisive that I can't imagine any conservative who's not going to go and vote for Mitt Romney and work for Mitt Romney in October and September, because the alternative is so unacceptable if you're a conservative.